Okay, everybody, before I start this vlog, I really want to just say to everybody who's watching this is not a social work perspective. This is not me being conservative with what I have to say. This is me being real. And if this offends anybody, if the language offends you, just realize this is specifically for a targeted population, the veteran community, the active duty community. We have our own language in the military, and this is what I'm trying to project with everybody and make everybody better understand by speaking the language of the military, especially being a Marine. I really don't want to offend anybody, so disclaimer, seriously, if any of this, the content that's coming up next offends you, I'm sorry, but this is for my targeted population, and thanks for watching. So here we go. Hey there, gents. Believe it or not, I used to be an active duty Marine just like you. Why am I doing this video? So I just got reports that there have been a couple suicides in the military. And you know, with me dealing with suicides in the veteran community, when you get off active duty, you become a veteran. And hopefully we don't have to cross paths because it's sad when we do. Like I said, I used to be an active duty Marine just like you. This is the same uniform I used to wear. And then I got out about 5 years ago. And in that process of transition, and even in my time in the Marine Corps, like, it was rough. It was definitely rough. You know, I got in back in 2003, went to 2-7, did a couple deployments with them, went to 2-3, did a couple more deployments with them, got into the MARSOC pipeline, did some stuff with them for a while, and then I got out of the Marine Corps with 1-9 and served out my time out there, got out with a voluntary separations program, and got out of the military. The transitions were rough, especially, you know, me being an active duty guy for 11 years, doing 8 deployments in those 11 years, going to Iraq 4 times, Afghanistan 3 times, a short tour in Japan for a little bit. And it was rough growing up in the military, growing up in the Marine Corps. And, you know, my first deployment, spending like a month in Kuwait, then heading over to Iraq. It was interesting because none of my seniors have ever been to war, and that's what we're going to, war. And what does that entail? Having peacetime Marines with guys who are indoctrinated into the killer lifestyle. And, you know, a lot of people talk about being brainwashed. Yeah, it was pretty much like that. You get into this mentality, they break you down and turn you to be a killer. And everything we do is killing and drinking. You know, from the words and the terminologies that we use, kill, kill, kill them all, die, motherfucker, die. You know, it changes your whole perception and reality when it comes to life. And my first, you know, engagement in the Marine Corps, it was interesting because I was trained to do something, brainwashed to do it, you know, and then I had a bunch of seniors that, you know, were all gung-ho and to telling us what to do. And when we get into our first firefight, you know, my head's up looking for targets, and I see to my left and right some of my seniors falling under pressure and taking cover, which is a good thing, but at the same time you lose scope of what's happening to you when you keep your head down. And we were brainwashed to locate and destroy the enemy. And I guess it was just too much for some of the guys that were there. They kind of like turtled up, and you could definitely see the fear. And I feel like that was my first taste of trauma, of post-traumatic stress disorder, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And it was definitely an enlightening experience. And using that experience to kind of push forward. And I did a second deployment to Iraq, a third deployment to Iraq, a fourth deployment to Iraq. And I used that trauma to kind of push myself forward because I have experience in dealing with being in a gunfight and everything like that. I didn't really absorb that and take that into consideration when it comes to my personal mental health. I started to notice that I don't really sleep. Hypervigilance, here I am, like always on alert and always ready for that next fight. I started to notice that I'm angry all the time, and I use it to my advantage, especially when I climbed up in rank, as a corporal, as a sergeant, as a staff sergeant. And I use those experience to get these new and younger Marines prepared for war. And then go into Afghanistan, totally different fight, totally different area, totally different, mindset going in. Had a little break, went to Japan, went through the MARSOC pipeline, and, with all that experience that I had, I thought it was good and everything. Was dealing with some issues with my post-traumatic stress disorder, with my TBI, because I got blown up a bunch of times. And the only thing that drove me was mission accomplishment. That's what I needed to do. I needed to make sure I was there for the boys. I needed to make sure that, I was a fighter leader and I was leading these guys into fights and winning. And, once again, I still didn't take care of myself. I was under the impression that, going through, therapy with the wizard, the mental health doctors and stuff, that I'd be okay, but they just gave me medication, and I definitely noticed the change in myself. I started to be even more irritable. I started to feel super numb. And it was good and it was bad. Like, I didn't care about stuff, and I would just go do it, which was a good thing for the Marine Corps because it's all about mission accomplishment. But at the same time, like, I also questioned myself and my ability. Like, can I perform the way that I usually do while I'm on this medication and I don't fucking care about shit? Will I make the right decisions? And that's a constant battle that I've dealt with. And it just compounded, my post-traumatic stress. And I didn't realize what I was going through until after I got out of the military. At the same time, there's times, because I'm not from the United States of America, I'm from a tiny island, it's a territory, it's in Guam. Like, I felt like I didn't have a purpose. I felt like, that I had to prove myself to everyone. And I just constantly wanted to be better by going to schools, by doing different programs, by not saying no to anything. I was known as the guy who'd be like, dude, this guy is fucking down. Like, let's, he'll say yes if he wants to go on this mission, or if he wants to do this, or, we'd be back and someone would tell me about a deployment and I was eligible to go because I've already served time. Like, I didn't have to do my 4th deployment. I could have been a recruiter. I could have been a drill instructor. I didn't want to do that stuff. I'm an infantry guy. Like, I belong on the battlefield. And that drive is a good thing when you're a Marine, but you need to step back and be like, is it really okay? Like, is this drive that I have to go on more deployments, to fight that fight, is it a good thing? No, it's not. Like, it may be good for the Marine Corps because you want to do it and you're all gung-ho, but is it really the right thing for you? Am I experiencing stress? Am I okay to go? One of the cool things I learned in MARSOC is playing the 3 chessboard game, dealing with your mental, your physical, and your spiritual, and blending them all together so you could be a more effective operator, right? I've always thought about that. Like, if I could blend everything together, then I can operate efficiently, not have to worry about things. I completely separated myself while I was deployed. Like, you ask all the people who know me, like, I wasn't the type of guy who would go to the MWR and make phone calls. I was the guy who was studying, going into the intel room and understanding the battlefield and stuff, because my job was the most important thing in my life at the time. But it wasn't my health. And that's something that I struggled with, especially after the Marine Corps. Like, man, should I go get help? That pride kicked in. And I was like, I don't need help. I'm a Marine. Go into the VA and, having TBI and all these back problems and everything. Here I am, going through these assessments by these VA doctors and stuff. And I don't want to fail anything. Like, I'm the type of dude who tries to get a 300 PFT. You know, I never got it, but I tried. And why would I lower my standard just for a rating number? You know, I got up to 80% and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know, a little bit of income and stuff like that. Didn't go to any of my appointments and stuff, and the VA dropped me down to 60%. But I wasn't taking care of myself until I realized, like, dude, the VA sucks. And this is me back then, because I didn't understand the VA. It sucks, so I'm gonna go get help somewhere else. And I did. I started going to these appointments and these different types of interventions to help me with my anger, with my depression, with my suicidal ideologies. Like, I thought I wasn't good enough anymore because I took off the uniform. I thought nobody understands me because, you know, I'm an asshole, I'm a fucking Marine, even though I'm out right now. The transition was like super hard for me, that the depression kicked in even more. I started drinking even more. And with the mixture of my medication and alcohol, I was doing good, but I was struggling internally, and I didn't know how to communicate that with people until I started going to these events with, like, the Wounded Warrior program, with the Semper Fi Fund, dealing with other veteran organizations. And it was an amazing experience, but it was also enlightening to better understand what I was going through, and that I wasn't alone, that other people were experiencing the same thing, but we needed to address it first. You know, I thought I was like super freaking hard because, like, I'd be in these group therapies and stuff with a bunch of Army guys, or, like, you know, Air Force or Navy people. I'm like, oh, what do you got on me, man? I got 8 deployments under my belt, you know, this and that. I felt privileged. And that privilege really affects your mental health, because at the end of the day, regardless what uniform I wear, what rank I have on my collar, the awards I put on my chest, I'm still a human being. And I needed to understand that I needed to realize that even though I fought for my country and did all those deployments and all these things, nobody fucking cares. You know, they'll thank you for your service and you know, ask you if you're all right, and, you know, maybe buy you a beer or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's a struggle you're going to have to deal with yourself and understand what's going on with yourself. And you're not going to do that unless you talk about it. The things that are bothering you, you know, even talking about war stories, one of the best things for me, and it's still to this day, I purposely go to all these reunions and stuff just so I could be myself. So I could be that dickhead staff sergeant or that dickhead squad leader that was, you know, roughing up the boys and everything, and just talk about those experiences and stuff. And, you know, a lot of my friends now, I'm a totally different person from when I wore the uniform until now. You know, now being a social worker in the community, you know, I'm all about helping people and getting them to that next level, inspiring them, motivating them, uplifting their spirits. And back then, when I was in uniform, I was about motivating people. But if you didn't make the cut, I didn't want you a part of the team. You know, we had a job to do. We had a mission to do. And if you couldn't perform, I didn't really want you. And I didn't care what you were dealing with. You know, I just had a conversation with one of my old Marine buddies about suicide training we used to have in the Marine Corps. And this is one of the biggest reasons I'm talking about this and wearing this uniform, was when we were in the service and we got these suicide briefs and all this, you know, annual training and stuff. I didn't take it seriously. You know, it was a check in the box. Even me as an instructor, you know, I used to tell people after I got, you know, my suicide training prevention coordinator or whatever class to teach the battalion about suicide, like, I was like, fuck these guys. Like, if they want to fucking be quitters and fucking kill themselves, let them do it. Fucking put a shotgun in your head so you don't have to fucking survive this fucking thing. Like, all these failed attempts, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for these guys. Like, I'm a fucking warrior. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have taken it seriously, because people, and especially service members on active duty, are going through some shit, and they have too much pride to ask for help. So that's what I want to talk about today. If you feel like there's something wrong, even if there's a little inclination that you're struggling with something, go get help. Ask for help. You're not going to get in trouble for it. You're taking care of yourself. It's like weapons maintenance. You have to fucking clean your shit. And if your shit doesn't clean, it won't fire. It's just like yourself. You build up all that energy, all that negative stress, and then you'll fucking implode. It's fucking crazy. And I used to be a part of that. I used to tell people like, hey, go fucking suck it up. Change your socks. Have some fucking Motrin. Drink some water. But that's not what's going to help. What's going to help is you talking about it. And you don't have to go see a wizard or anything like that. Talk to the boys. See what they're going through. And you'll realize that you're not alone. Everybody else is struggling with some sort of, shit. If you went through some shit, especially the guys that are going overseas in these foreign countries and fighting wars and shit. So get the help, man. Like, it will change your life. And if you don't fucking feel like it's a good thing for you, seek other services elsewhere. And there is. And, like your first sergeant will help you, your staff sergeant, and they should. And if they don't, like, hold them accountable for it. Or have them watch this fucking video that another staff sergeant is saying this. And this is a staff sergeant that made mistakes by, turning my fucking cheek to shit like suicide or depression and people that are too weak to be in the military. Like, no, man. Like, in order for us to develop our Marines or, our troops and everything like that, we need to invest into their mental state. We really do. And it'll just increase the productivity and the efficiency of whatever you guys are doing. Whether you're the butcher, the baker, or the camel stick maker in your unit. Like, everybody goes through something, and we need to invest into the mental state of our troops and our guys. So take it seriously. From a guy who used to wear the uniform and has dealt with PTSD and traumatic brain injury and depression and suicidal ideology, like, it's a serious thing, man. I'm so blessed to have the people that are around me. I'm so blessed to still be alive, to share my story with other people so they can increase their quality of life. There's so many organizations, so many, things that are out there to not only help our active duty service members, but our veterans. And when you take the uniform off, you'll be in the same boat as everybody else. You're just a veteran. So I want to thank you for your service and whatever you do in the military. And if you need help or you know someone that needs help, get them the help that they need because, we sacrifice a lot just to wear this uniform. For Marines, it's a big deal. We all get that EGA in our hand. We all go through the crucible. We all go through shit in the Marine Corps. Just like the other services that are out there, they have their own thing. But as a Marine, as a former active duty Marine, we share bonds together. Regardless if we're in, we're out, we're old, we're young, we go through the same kind of stuff. And we need to be there for each other during our time of struggle. In order for us to do that, we need to talk about the big elephant in the fucking room. So let's talk about that, have those conversations, and be serious with it. Because, someone who's dealing with mental health shit, in your squad and you're getting ready to deploy and stuff, may not be the best thing for your squad and the efficiency of the mission. And we need to invest into our people and their mental states. So, once again, if you're struggling, or if you know somebody who's struggling, get some help. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay in that fight. Thanks, guys, for listening. Peace.